Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. I'm going to ask the city clerk to give us the roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Osborne.
Here.
Councilmember Suarez. Councilmember Kearney.
Here.
Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Mayor Pullen Myers.
Here.
Let the records indicate that all are present with Councilmember Suarez absent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask Pastor Douglas Gates from the House of Celebration to lead us rather in the word of inspiration. I'm also going to ask Councilmember Pat Kearney to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance first.
Please rise. Place your right hand over your heart and repeat along with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, ladies and gentlemen. Our prayer this morning would come from, or this evening would come from Psalms chapter 12. And he says, help, Lord, for no one is faithful anymore. Those who are loyal have vanished from the human race. Everyone lies to their neighbor. They flatter with their lips. They harbor deception in their hearts. May the Lord silence all flattering lips and every boastful tongue. Those who say, by our tongues we will prevail. Our own lips will defend us. Who is the Lord over us? Because the poor are plummeted and the needy drained, I will now arise, says the Lord. I will protect them from those who malign them, and the words of the Lord are flawless, like silver purified in the crucible, like gold refined in 7 times. The Lord will keep the needy safe and will protect us from the wicked, who freely struts about when there is vow and honor where vow is honored by the human race. Lord, we're so thankful that you are God. We're thankful that we can come to you, God. But most of all, Lord, we're thankful for this country that you have given us. We're thankful for this city that you have given us, for the men and women that you have placed in this city to govern and direct the city. As our country continue to prosper, Lord, we pray that you give them the wisdom that they need in order to make valid decisions, Lord, that's based upon your word, upon how you feel that our country should be ran, how you decree we should serve one another, and how we should be your people. We thank you for your blessings upon them, Lord. Give them the wisdom that they need as they continue to govern this great city that you have given, and bring prosperity and abundance to this city and every person that serves you here and all the members of this community. We thank you and we praise you because you are a great God, and give us hearts to know what is real and what is false. Through Christ our Lord, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor, for those words of inspiration. Okay, now we have our public safety report. Let's welcome our Captain Allen.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here tonight to present the public safety report for September 2nd through October 6th. On September 9th at midnight, Deputy Ardita responded to Artesia Boulevard and Fremona Avenue regarding an armed robbery where the victim had been confronted by a suspect who asked for money but then stole the headphones off his head. A second suspect armed with a knife surrounded the victim. Fearing for his life, the victim ran from the suspects. Shortly after, a crime broadcast was initiated. Deputy Lenardi located both suspects nearby who still possessed the victim's headphones. During a field show-up, the victim positively identified both suspects who were then placed under arrest for armed robbery and booked at South Los Angeles Sheriff's Station for armed robbery. On September 13th at 1 p.m., Deputy Saldana was driving on 166th Street when he observed a male from prior contact standing in front of a residence. During a consensual contact, Deputy Saldana inquired if the male was on probation. The male stated yes, he was, for a stolen vehicle. Verifying his status, Deputy Saldana detained him pending a probation compliance search of his residence. With the assistance of other units, all occupants of the residence were ordered to exit, which they complied. At this point, Deputy Saldana recognized another male who was also on probation for bringing a controlled substance into a jail facility. After verifying his status, it was determined he had an outstanding arrest warrant. He was subsequently placed under arrest. The first male was asked if he had anything illegal in his possession. He told Deputy Saldana he had given his girlfriend, who was still present, a bag containing a firearm with ammunition. When the female was asked by the deputies where the firearm was, she stated she had thrown it over the fence upon exiting the residence. The bag was later recovered in a neighbor's backyard. Inside the bag were numerous gun parts, ammunition, and high-capacity magazines. The first male was also placed under arrest, transported and booked at South Los Angeles Station for ex-felon in possession of ammunition and high-capacity magazines. The female was not arrested. On September 18th in the morning, Deputy Johnson conducted a patrol check of 4547 Rosecrans Avenue and saw two males looking through some items. As he approached closer in his patrol car, the suspects tossed methamphetamine pipes and a replica firearm. During his investigation, he discovered items belonging to an address in the city of Hawthorne, a mask, a hat, sunglasses, and gloves. Typical items a burglar or robber would possess, along with the replica firearm. South Los Angeles units went to the Hawthorne address and discovered that an unreported vehicle burglary had occurred with some of the items stolen from the vehicle. One of the suspects also possessed a car key, which was to a stolen vehicle parked nearby. A third suspect, who was an accomplice to the crimes, was also sitting in a car nearby. All three suspects were arrested for taking a vehicle without owner's consent, burglary, receiving stolen property, reasonable cause arrest, and possession of drug paraphernalia, 11364 H&S, and booked at South Los Angeles Station. On October 2nd in the morning, a victim was carjacked of a commercial truck near his business on the 14,500 block of Hawthorne Boulevard. A carjacking report was taken by Lawndale deputies, and a crime broadcast was put out to the Lawndale units. Several hours later, Deputy Gonzalez spotted the stolen commercial truck traveling north on Hawthorne Boulevard. Deputy Gonzalez immediately requested assistance and conducted a traffic stop of the vehicle. The suspect was arrested for carjacking and booked at South Los Angeles Station. The stolen vehicle was returned to the victim. Last, on October 3rd in the morning, Deputy Kill responded to the 4500 block of Artesia Boulevard regarding a burglary call. The call stated an ex-boyfriend had entered his girlfriend's apartment without her consent. Upon his arrival, Deputy Kill observed a male matching the description. The victim stated the suspect arrived at her apartment and began banging on her metal security door. The victim opened the inner door to tell the suspect to leave. At this point, the suspect, who had damaged the outer security door, attempted to grab the victim while yelling, "I'm going to kill you." The victim retreated to her kitchen area with her mother. At this point, the suspect was able to open the security door. Fearing for her life and her mother's, both were kept from exiting the apartment by the suspect. At this point, Deputy Kill arrived and detained the suspect. The suspect was placed under arrest, transported, and booked at South Los Angeles Station for burglary, false imprisonment, and criminal threats. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Okay, thank you for that report, Captain. Are there any comments of the Captain's report?
No questions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, with that, we will move our agenda. We are now on oral communications. Oral communications, when you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda, we ask that you line up by the flag. When it becomes your turn, if you would come to the podium, if you would start with your name. At about 2 minutes, the amber light will come on to give you the signal to start wrapping things up. Let's have our first speaker. Welcome.
Pam London, 171st. I hope you got my little handouts. Just wanted to reiterate that, yes, we do allow parking pads if you meet the requirements. Also, that house that you were shown, it was listed as 2 units, which I hope you see the highlights, when it in fact is one house. These are just some of the problems that are ongoing in the city that it's very hard for our code enforcement to address. And when they do that inspection, this would never be caught because that's, looking at whether or not there's been a conversion. That's not looking at the real estate listing or anything beyond that. So I just wanted you guys to have that in your hand and be thoughtful and considerate of that with what we'll be talking about after a while, because I'll be up here then too. But also, I really hope that Sean Moore will be our next city manager. Thank you.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And also, I'm really, really, really sorry that we've lost Chris Wilson, and I hate that is another one of those things that is at the very end of the meeting when we pay our respects, because as you know, most people don't come to the meetings, but they don't really see anything beyond your closed session hearings, and we all usually leave too. So I wish that maybe you would look into bringing that to an earlier part of the meeting to show your respects for those who have passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing none other signaling that they would like to speak to this body on the OR communications, we will close OR communications and bring it up to the diocese for any comments by the council. Let's hear from Councilmember Daniel Reed.
Well, thank you for speaking. I appreciate that. Obviously, I can just get this, I'll take a look at it, but I do think I recognize the location. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Peck.
Well, my colleague covered it all, so I'll pass it on to my colleague to my right.
Thank you. James Osborne.
Thank you, Robert. Regarding the closing, Pam, that's kind of what the tradition's been. You close in their honor. It's still the purview of any member of the audience if they want to make condolence remarks like you just did. That's perfectly fine. But really, the ceremonial part has been to close the meeting in their honor and memory. So, that's all.
Okay, and I don't have anything to add, but I do want to thank you for acknowledging from my beloved staff member, Chris Wilson. We will be adjourning his name tonight. With that, we will move our agenda to the consent calendar. There's 10 items on the consent calendar. I do have a comment or two on the consent calendar. Anyone else have anything on the consent calendar?
Is that just a comment, or are you going to pull?
Just a comment.
Just a comment.
Okay.
On number 8, I believe that was triggered by a specific business in the community. And I just wanted to kind of validate that was the case, that was the issue. In regards to that, I remember a specific issue of a banner.
Correct. This stems from a few instances of the use of the city seal, and we thought it would be good to get in front of that and have a formal policy, a more expansive policy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Robert.
And I just wanted to add on item number 6, I want to thank the Finance Department, City Finance Director and Treasurer for the, I'm sorry, let me back up. Let me move forward first to item 7, the quarterly investment reports. I want to thank you for the quarterly investment reports. I think this gives us a very good snapshot as to how we're doing and what our investment portfolio looks like moving forward. So I want to thank you for putting this together in a easy to read and understand manner. And I want to thank you for that new change and addition. Additionally, I wanted to make comment on item number 6, joining the Coalition for the Public Agencies to oppose the petition to the FCC. I am glad that we possibly would join this coalition to oppose the petition. If you read the staff report on item number 6, I mean, there's a lot of reason to oppose this because with the new technology and taking away our rights to, which is given to us under the Constitution, our police powers to regulate even the placement of technology that should rest with the cities. But we see the federal government, in some cases, even the state, encroaching on our rights to govern our city in terms of our police power. So what this coalition would do is speak to that issue, and it will show that we are opposed to such a move.
Is that
That's item 6.
motion for the?
Well, Well, I can't make a motion for the consent unless you would like to.
second it.
But I
I'll
thought you
second
had a
it if you
comment.
make the motion.
You don't have a comment, though?
No, I don't.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. With that being said, I would like to make a motion that we adopt the consent calendar. in
I'll
its
second it.
entirety, and it's been seconded by Osborne. Is there any discussion on the motion, any debate? Would the council please vote on the consent calendar?
Motion approved unanimously with Councilmember Suarez absent.
Thank you, madam. Our next item is, James Osborne just informed me that the next item is item 11. No, I'm looking at 12 because I want to announce before we get to 11 that we will be pulling item number 12 from the agenda and won't be hearing that item tonight. So just so the audience will be aware that we are pulling item number 12 from the agenda. Moving on to item 11, let's have the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, members of the public. This is consideration of an ordinance to amend the residential property report requirements in the city of Lawndale and adoption of,
You have a previous.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 11 is the disposal of the
It's
auction.
number 11.
Auction item, replacement of the high.
11.
Disposing of,
Yes,
Item 11.
the numbers are mixed up.
Mr.,
They're saying you're 14.
yeah,
You're looking.
but I guess
This is
the
Marlon.
agenda, it's,
No, that's fine.
Ready for
You can
11?
call it 14, but who's going to do it? You going to?
Marla's
I'll do
Marlon?
doing.
Okay, Marlon, okay, there you go.
I'll do 12.
Okay, what's before you, number
Second
11,
meeting.
is the disposal and replacement of a vehicle at municipal services. The vehicle is in need of massive repair. The cost, we feel, is a little bit too high based on the age and the usage of the vehicle. So we're requesting that it be disposed of at auction, approval for that, as well as the approval to expend air quality money that we have. It's unrestricted at this point, it's not used, so we would like to reserve that to actually purchase a new vehicle, $28,000. So we're asking for permission for both of those.
Okay, very good. Any questions on item 11?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
Last 3 vehicles, I asked to see what we make off of, when we sell it. I have not seen nothing on the warrants. Can you give us an update next, when this one sells? What you receive for it?
Okay, what happens is that's revenue that comes in, and that's why you don't see it. The warrants are the payables,
Okay.
expenses, money going out. It's usually just small amounts that come in. The last ones that have been approved have not been sold at auction yet. But I can make sure I bring that to your attention when they do sell and the amount that comes in.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, what is the pleasure of this body concerning item 11?
Make a motion to go to staff report?
Okay,
I'll
motion
second
been
it.
made by Kearney and seconded by Reed that we adopt the staff's recommendation. Is there any discussion on the motion?
No.
Seeing none, will the council please vote on item 11?
Motion approved unanimously with Councilmember Suarez absent.
Thank you. Moving to item 13.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. This is an item, a recommendation from staff to award a construction contract with Calban Incorporated to complete a street and sidewalk improvement project on Gravilla Avenue. Staff completed the bid process in September of 2019, and I identified Calban as the lowest responsible bidder for this project. Calban has completed projects for the city in the past satisfactorily. The funding source for this capital improvement project was approved during the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget process. There's no new dollars we're asking to fund this project. Staff respectfully recommends that the council approve and award this contract to Calban.
Okay, thank you for that report. For item number 13, is there any discussion on item number 13?
I have questions.
Yes, sir.
On 13, I know we went with Calban, but in the past, there have been multiple change orders by Calban to get the prices up. They might come in the lowest, but at the end, they're probably the second or third highest. So let's keep an eye on the change orders, please.
We'll definitely do that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other additional questions on item 13? Okay, seeing none, what is the pleasure of this body concerning item number 13?
Second.
So it's been moved by Osborne and seconded by Kearney that we adopt staff recommendations for item number 13. Will the council please vote?
Motion approved unanimously with Councilmember Suarez absent.
Okay, thank you for that. Item number 14, amending the Lawndale Municipal Code concerning residential property. Let's have a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the audience. Sorry about that. So this item before you is consideration to amend our ordinance to allow, to require, no longer mandate residential property reports as part of our process, essentially make them volunteer. Staff looked at several cities in the surrounding area, did a lot of research into this matter, and we also worked with the discussed with surrounding cities some of their requirements. We did talk directly with the city of Manhattan Beach and Redondo Beach. They indicated to staff that they only review building permit information on file. No site inspections are required. Whereas the cities of Gardena and Carson, they required more comprehensive reports. However, the cities of El Segundo, Hawthorne, and Torrance do not require any type of residential type property reports. This project is exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act. The city attorney has reviewed and approved it to form the proposed ordinance. No planning commission review. Staff anticipates a substantial cost savings in time and resources that have been related to residential property reports, as well as the code cases that spawn from it. This concludes staff's report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that staff report. Is there any questions of the staff report concerning this item?
I have one.
Yes,
None.
sir.
Again. I thought when we discussed this, we were talking just the interior of the house, not garage conversions, stuff outside. That was my understanding. Now, the report says everything's gone. I still want to see illegal garage conversions checked before the sale. That's my understanding. I thought it was. Maybe it was.
I believe the last time we brought the item forward, the discussion was to actually remove the inspection of the garage conversions. I am not certain. I'm sorry.
I thought it was
Well,
just,
let me just.
If I may, let me speak to that. We were not talking about removing inspections of illegal garage conversions. We were simply moving this from a mandatory inspection to
Well,
a voluntary inspection from the folks involved in the transaction.
But that would include the garages.
that's what I was going to ask. Just
Right.
ask the question with that.
Yeah.
You just pretty much answered it.
Mm.
Yeah. Which was one of my arguments, is that this gives us the opportunity to capture illegal garage conversions, dwellings that was never permitted. Let's say you got 2 dwellings on it, and the second dwelling was never permitted, or what have you. This gives you the opportunity to capture those, as opposed to not having the opportunity if it's volunteer.
that was my understanding, that the garage would still be part of the inspection. The inner house is not part of the inspection. It's voluntary.
The property inspection itself is voluntary. Any illegal garage conversion which would be reported was not part of this particular change. This was just to make it voluntary to those involved in the transaction, not removing an inspection of a reported garage conversion.
Right, I understand it, but just to make it clear, if you don't have an inspection at all and it's voluntary, right? Let's say you decide not to voluntarily have the inspection, and you have an illegal garage conversion, or any other illegal activity, for that matter is concerned. Since it's a voluntary action, you won't have the opportunity to capture those, because no one's going to say, well, perceivably someone can say, yeah, I got an illegal garage conversion. Yeah, I want to be subject to the inspection. Okay, somebody might say that, but it's not likely that someone would say it, even though, you could. That's the whole ideal. If you keep the inspection, you have the opportunity to capture those illegal conversions once you sell the property or transfer the property. If you have it volunteer, yes, you do still have the opportunity to capture them if they opt in to the volunteer program.
Right. And, you know,
So long as we're clear on what we're adopting, that's all I'm
Right.
looking for clarity,
Right.
because everyone already knows
Totally
my
understand.
position.
And I think we could look at the records as well to see the garage conversions, which have been handled without a real estate transaction, that have been captured and corrected, as evidence 4630, 152nd Street. Was not a sale that caught that garage conversion. So this is not to affect that inspection of any kind.
A quick question. Does this need to be, if the suggestions you just heard are to be adopted, does that have to be brought back, or can they be made as part of a motion this evening?
What's going to be your question?
I think,
For changes?
right, if you guys wanted to change it to say that the garage part was still mandatory, but then anything else would be voluntary, which is where Pat started, we could get direction on that tonight.
Oh, okay,
You
good.
could do that.
I just wanted that to be clear.
You could do that. I mean, the rest is voluntary, which means notwithstanding illegal garage conversion, if you have some other matter that's illegal, you would have to volunteer for it to be inspected, if you have a volunteer program. But at least you would have the, like you noted, you would have the mandatory garage.
Mr. Mayor, if I
I'm going to let the audience get a moment. I know I have two speakers that want to speak on this in a minute. Okay, let's have some audience on.
Yelling from the audience.
May I please have an extra minute, 30 seconds?
Well, let's see how it goes.
This.
Let's go ahead.
Pam London, 171st. The whole thing, and Mr. Reed spoke about it last time, is that because of the governor and everything he's doing, we can't require parking anymore, which means garage conversions. I'm sorry. But this whole inspection, it started as garage conversions. It started as a garage inspection. It has since morphed into a little bit more inspecting so that they can, whatever they see, they can also cite you for. But if you do what you're proposing tonight, that garage inspection goes out the freaking window, and, you know, we can just go on about our business as always in this city where nothing gets caught because nobody's going to be a tattletale and turn in their neighbor, except me. So that was what I needed the extra time for. So it is time, it's past time that people stop misleading the public, tell the truth. The property inspection program has been a benefit to both buyers and the city. I am sure that each of you went to the city and checked all permit records prior to purchasing your home. So let's be honest, no you didn't. This city has a long history of illegal garage conversions, illegal additions, illegal plumbing, illegal electric, illegal fences, illegal parking pads, illegal everything. This city has been a complete disaster when it comes to permits. This city has failed miserably to teach its residents about the need to check with the city before work begins. And you want to reinforce the failures that have existed from before this city incorporated by yet again taking away one of the few resources that the city has to be proactive in building and safety. Good for you guys. You must be so proud. The one thing that was mentioned that should be up for review, the one thing is the inspection should be required at the time of listing. That would prevent a lot of the issues that the seller faces due to the illegal work that has been done to their property, just like the one that I showed you. That listing would have been corrected, and that buyer would not have bought a single-family home under the guise of it being 2 rental units. No one likes to get caught with their pants down. Most know that they have done work illegally on their property, and now they have you to hide behind. The governor's actions do not help this city with regard to the parking issues that have existed forever, but that does not negate the need to correct illegal crap in the city. So far, the ADUs are allowed on properties with single-family homes. That means all of the 2 on a lots, which is most of the city, and the townhomes are not eligible. Therefore, your idea that the changes from the governor eliminate parking requirements is false.
30 seconds, wrap it up for me.
Although Torrance has decided to allow garage conversions for the purpose of an ADU, they continue to
not act without a complaint. The city has made the decision to be reactive, not proactive in code enforcement. Therefore, unless you have a tattletale, you will not stop the illegal work. All of you should know this, and if you do not, you need to study your own municipal code. Educate yourself before inserting the foot. I'm really angry.
Wrap it up for me, Ms. London.
Tractors are not allowed to be parked inside the city residential zone, not even in driveways. No vehicle, including tractors, are allowed to encroach on the sidewalk, forcing people to walk in the street. And somebody up there knows exactly what property I'm talking about.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Report is one of the few times that code enforcement has the ability to take a proactive approach to enforcing code violations. At the September 3rd, 2019 council meeting, when this program was discussed, some of the reasons to end the program was that this inspection program was in conflict with the state, limiting the city's ability to require parking. The county might allow illegal garage conversions, and there are too many complaints. As far as parking, at every planning commission meeting, all new condominium projects are still required to have two-car garages and guest parking. Lawndale is not allowing illegal garage conversions at this time. If the city is doing its job in this process and enforcing the code, the fact that someone complains simply comes with the territory. I am sure there are buyers and sellers who might not be happy with the process, but then anyone cited for any code violation is probably not going to send you a thank you letter. Is the solution then to look the other way? In the staff report and the city council discussion, there are no facts supporting this move. How many code violations have there been during the last year due to this program? How many have been resolved? The cities mentioned in the staff report that do not have residential reports, El Segundo, Hawthorne, and Torrance, have a more progressive code enforcement program. These cities all have an administrative citation program. If London wants to compare to these cities, then perhaps Lawndale should institute an administrative program. As mentioned in the report, Manhattan Beach and Redondo Beach do a review of permits in their properties. I also mentioned in the report Gardena and Carson do require inspections. Gardena and Carson also have the ability to include an interior inspection. Two other cities not mentioned in the staff report are Hermosa Beach and Inglewood. These cities both include interior inspections and, if requested, interior inspections. Obviously, Lawndale is not unique in requiring an inspection. Out of 9 neighboring cities, only El Segundo, Hawthorne, and Torrance have no type of residential inspection program. These 3 cities have proactive administrative citation programs that may not have the same issues as Lawndale. 4 cities have inspections that inspect the interior and can include the exterior and can include the interior. Lawndale's program is not as far-reaching as these 4. Certainly, the current Lawndale program is a reasonable compromise between only reviewing permits and the extreme of the ability to do interior inspections. Staff report mentions cost savings due to less work. However, the other side is that the plan review fees and permit fees will all be lost. In the 2 deck conversions discovered during escrow in my complex, several thousands of dollars were paid in plan review and building permits. Community development has increased fees recently so that the fees cover services provided. This process is one of the few times that the city's reactive approach does not require a neighbor to snitch on another neighbor. It is a fair process that allows the city to correct code violations, and it is a fair compromise of what surrounding cities do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I want to thank the public for those comments. Let's bring it back to the diocese for any further discussion. I just wanted to, before we make a motion, if that is a pleasure to this body, just so that we're clear on what the proposal is, or what we will or will not adopt. That's all I'm asking for. So if everyone's clear on it, then I guess we can move ahead. If we have any more questions for us, the clarity is concerned. I think that's the first thing we should tackle to make sure everyone is clear on it. So, Mr. Kearney, are you clear on what we're going to be adopting, or did you want to add something?
I still have concerns about the garage conversion.
So one of the proposals is that we could adopt a voluntary program with the exception of garage conversions, which would mean garage conversions would be subject to involuntary process.
Yeah, we can do that. We can insert that, correct?
We could,
If it's agreeable with the council, I mean.
right, if there's consensus for that, I made some notes on how we can do that, and I can go over that if you'd like to hear. We would
Go ahead.
basically not do what's in the ordinance as drafted, and then we would change section 2 right now, which talks about it being voluntary, and say that it's mandatory for garage inspections, and that owners and sellers can request inspection of additional inspection to be voluntary.
So are you saying we don't need to take a vote on it now? You can make these adjustments
Well,
and bring it back?
Right, and I hand wrote it if you guys want to look at it real quick to see how I would recommend changing it. But so you could approve those changes tonight with first reading to introduce it, and then second reading would be on consent at the next meeting.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
we can do that.
hand down your notes.
Yeah, we could certainly look at that. And, I was looking at the red
At
line,
least
there's
we have
nothing in there
some-
that actually removes it, so I'd like to see what that clarified language is. It'd be fine.
At least we will have some form of inspection. Simple.
Yeah.
I think I heard what she said. Yeah. Let's make sure.
What is this,
And we can always,
Sorry,
well,
I didn't think anyone else would.
at least she wrote it, I didn't.
That's like Braille.
Then we can always revisit it at some point.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Do you want to read that for part of your motion?
I'm not gonna read all that. I can't read the chicken scratch.
So do me a favor, Madam City Attorney, why don't you read the motion so we make sure that we understood what was written
Sure,
there.
so as I was saying earlier, we would not make the changes that are in section 1, section 3, and section 4 in the ordinance that's in your packet, or the changes that are currently in section 2, but instead we would revise section 2 to have the language in there, which is 8.80.030, to say prior to concluding an agreement for sale or exchange of any residential building, unless excluded by section 8.80.080, the owner or his or her authorized representative shall obtain from the city a residential property report identifying garage inspections. Owners or sellers can also request that the inspection include observable items that fail to comply with the city's codes, rules, and ordinances, and which state whether the property is in compliance with the requirements for off-street parking. And then the next sentence was about the report, so we would just add before that if a report is requested, and
Okay.
then say what the report would be.
Okay, great. So that would be Mr. Pat Kearney's motion.
I'll make a motion with the changes from the city attorney's office.
Yes, sir.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Daniel Reed. Is there any discussion? on
Yeah,
the
I have
motion?
one comment on it. Even though we do this today, I think we're not blind to the fact, the way the governor and the legislature are working, you could see where they're going to force you to do garage conversions in your city. I mean, it's nuts what's going on. They want housing no matter what, whether, they don't care about the parking problem. They're going to try and push you not to have a car at one point in time. So we're doing what we're doing, but it's likely to be very temporary.
Okay, without any further discussion, will the council please vote?
Motion approved unanimously with Councilmember Suarez absent.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Yeah, I'll send you a red line.
Next item on the agenda is
Oh,
item.
sorry, yeah. Actually, real quick, Matt reminded me, we need to read the ordinance title.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sorry about that.
that
It's
is
ordinance
ordinance.
1164-19, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lawndale, California, amending portions of Chapter 8.80 of the Lawndale Municipal Code pertaining to residential property reports and a finding of exemption from CEQA.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, madam. Okay, now we're on item number 15. Items from council members, mayor and council members for any meetings or attendance, anything you'd like to share, any meals you may have consumed, etc.
et cetera, et
Let's speak to
cetera.
Councilman Reed.
And so I did attend the city contract cities meeting that was held by the fire department, and got a wonderful chance to enjoy some of the fire suppression through the harbor and a flyover of our aerial ships as well. It was a very good. Attended the Blues and Jazz and Car show, and also partook of our neighborhood cleanup, at which point I saw a gentleman that comes apparently on a regular basis on our cleanup with a nice little pickup that just dumps everything. He doesn't have to shift it out. It was very interesting to see that.
Very good. Pat Kearney. Yes, sir.
I'm writing still. Okay, here we go. I attended the music festival. I attended 2 library trust meetings with City Manager Steve Mandoki. I attended the Lawndale Cleanup Day. I attended Chris Wilson's viewing, and I'm going to lay it out there to the rest of the council. The nights that are available for Santa Sleigh, they are Route 4, which is Thursday, 12/12, Route 7, which is Tuesday, 12/17, and Route 8, which is Wednesday, 12/18. Wednesday, Route 8, you'll have the best Santa in town on the sleigh. I'm not mentioning no names, but he is the best.
Okay.
And with that, I'll pass it on. But I'd like to get an answer by the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
12/12, 12/17, and 12/18.
Was there something you were going to ask about for a future agenda?
I was going to ask about what?
To put on a future agenda?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me that. I'd like to agendize, if we can, from changing the Blues Festival to the Music Festival. So, our city is diverse, and we can draw, mariachis, Motown, country western, other groups in too. So I'd like to agendize that for discussion, just to change the name from the Blues to the Music Festival.
Always changing stuff. Anyway.
All right, we'll talk about it.
I
Thank you.
attended the same thing
Yes.
Dan did, the Contract Cities and the Blues Festival and the SCAG meeting downtown. That's all.
Thank you. So I attended the sanitation district meeting. I also attended the Ed Little Recycling Center facility visitor center's grand opening, a re-grand opening. This is the West Basin Municipal Water District. They had a big thing to do for their re-grand opening of the visitor center. They're in El Segundo. I also attended the Contract Cities meeting with the firefighters, was our host. Fire department, I should say, was our host. I also attended the Blues Festival. I want to thank the volunteers in the community service department, Parks and Recreation Department, for putting on the Blues Festival. It was really hot, really hot.
Too hot.
But we had a great time, and a great time was had by all. And the classic cars, where everyone enjoyed the classic cars as well. And it was just a good time. And we had some of our regular folks that come out every year, including an entourage from Rancho Cucamonga, who brought even more people this year. And so that was a really good festival. So I want to just thank everyone for that festival. And I also attend the funeral service for Chris Wilson as well, which we will be adjourning in his memory tonight. And with that, that's all I have.
You attended West Basin?
I did attend West Basin. The West Basin was the Edward Little Recycling Center Visitor Center. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And with that, we would move our agenda, and we are going to go into closed session, a conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give us the provision of the closed session.
The city council will meet in closed session on one item as agendized as I-16 to consider initiating litigation in one matter. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll stand in recess for closed session. City Attorney to give the report of the closed session.
The City Council met in closed session to discuss whether to initiate litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. The Council unanimously authorized initiating litigation, a civil abatement action against the owners of property at 15430 Freeman. Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight we're going to adjourn in the memory of Christopher Wilson. He was one of our staffers of about 11 years here in the city of Lawndale, and he was a valuable member of our team, our planning department. Christopher, he died at the age of 34, peacefully with his sister at his side on September the 6th, 2019, here in Los Angeles. He was born on May 30th, 1985, in Harbor City, and he resided in Southern California until his death. Christopher completed his high school education with honors at King Drew Academy in 2003, and he went on to complete his Bachelor of Science degree from California State Polytechnic University in Pomona in Urban and Regional Planning, and he continued his education at UCLA, earning a degree in real estate. Christopher worked for the city of Manhattan Beach for 5 years, and then we were fortunate enough to steal him from Manhattan Beach, and he came to work for the city of Lawndale, where he worked for us for nearly 11 years. And we can't say how much value he added to the planning department and to our city in general. We've always received a lot of positive feedback from the public and their dealings with Chris at the counter in the planning department. And so our hearts, of course, is going to goes out to his parents as well as his siblings. And we did have his funeral service, and I had the opportunity to, as well as our staff and members of the council, to attend his funeral service. And we just want to give our condolences to the family and our blessings to the family, and let them know that our prayers will continue to be with them, and that we will continue to miss Chris here in the city of Lawndale. So on behalf of the council and Chris's colleagues, we continue to pray for his family, and we will miss him. With that, we will adjourn this council meeting. The next regular scheduled meeting of the Lawndale City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, October 21st, in these council chambers. It is now 7:32, and this meeting is adjourned. 2 minutes.